Espero que gostem. Geralmente isto é a pérola deste encontro. Chega alguém que vem desde a Áustria dar-nos as novidades do que está a acontecer com o GeoGebra, especialmente a todos nós, que somos muito interessados no assunto, as pessoas que participam nestes congressos, e que depois, durante estes 2 anos, vamos, se calhar, utilizar algumas das coisas que ela hoje nos vai dizer e que vão aparecendo, algumas vezes já estão em versões beta, e que podemos ir utilizando, e muitas vezes até simplificam muito o trabalho que antes fazíamos com mais passos, agora podemos passar com menos. Não ao ritmo da IAs negativa, que de um dia para o outro mudam as coisas de repente, mas sim, cria muita dinâmica de utilização. Se calhar esse é o segredo do GeoGebra, é que se mantém vivo relativamente a outras aplicações. E manter-se vivo implica que há pessoas interessadas em trabalhar, em fazer mudanças, etc.
Thank you very much. So unfortunately, my Portuguese is very, very poor. My Spanish is also so little that I understood a very little bit of what you were saying. So this is why, unfortunately, I need to speak English to you. Am I speaking loud enough? Can you hear me well at the very back? Nice. No? Yes. Stop. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Is this loud enough? I can try. Okay. Yes, then thank you very much for being here and letting me be here today. So to introduce myself also, from the GeoGebra team, I am leading the content team, which means we create resources, we create applets, mostly because we want to make teachers' lives easier, so that there are things out there that you can just find, because we know how busy everyone is and how much work it is to teach. So we try to also bring things out there so that you can just find it and grab it from our website. I will give you an idea about that at the very end. So what I want to look at today is a bit of an overview of everything that we do, which is a lot. So I could probably fill the whole afternoon. I will try hard to stay within the hour. So today is a different story than it was 15 years ago. So 15 years ago, there was GeoGebra, the software that you could download on your computer. And then it still took quite a lot of time before you could upload your resources, your applets to the website. And now where we are is we have this big online platform that lives from the biggest part, the community. So all of you, all of the teachers globally who share their resources with everyone else, this is what makes our website. We have the apps, of course, but not only the version that some of you started with many years ago. Now we also have online apps, smartphone apps. So a lot happened actually also in that area. And also, I don't know if you're familiar with the classroom system, where you can give students resources directly online. And yes, I think the worldwide community is a very important part of GeoGebra, because this is what makes it happen. So to have a quick look at the apps. As I mentioned, you know the old, so many of you probably know this very old version of GeoGebra that you download. We still have it. We call it GeoGebra Classic. But the version that we really put a lot of love into and where we really try to improve it and add features is the calculator suite, which you can find online. So the calculator suite on the right, but it actually includes everything. So it's basically the same as the old version, but with a modern look and with a new interface, so that you can have it online on your Android phone, on your iPhone, and it looks the same everywhere. So this is really like the focus is on students, because in the end we want students to use GeoGebra. So we are trying to have simpler versions and more separated versions so that it's easier for the students to get into it and to start learning and using GeoGebra. So the calculator suite, in the online version, it's this. So we still have everything that you're used to. And I think I saw today in the workshop, some of you are using the newer versions. But I also know that there are always people who really enjoy the old version and stick to it. But I really want to encourage you to try the new versions, especially also on mobile devices, because this is what many kids have today. They have a phone. And on the phone, you can just download it. It's for free as always, of course. Nothing has changed there. But when you download it, students can just have it on their phone. And I've heard this a lot, so this is why I also brought this topic here today. Many teachers said, we cannot use the new version because it does not have spreadsheet. Okay, we have spreadsheet now. We took this very seriously because many people said it. So now here is the spreadsheet. We finally added it, and we are working on this a lot now to really make sure that it has all the functionalities, but we're trying to improve it. So we just don't just copy it, we try to improve. So you can still have, like, your default input, and you can use formulas again. You can also drag them down. So you can also do references, you can use variables here. So all of the functionality is in there again. But we are trying to make things easier. Like when you want to make a diagram, then you just have a selection. And for now, we have those 4 more functionalities coming. So we focused on the most important things. Well, now my line chart looks really weird because I don't have any access or any information here. But this will then again make all of the functionality will be there. Also, we have sum and mean already. We have a few options for coloring, because I do think that in some cases when you make bigger calculations, financial math, you do have things that you want to highlight. So we made it easy here to just select the rows and you can just give them a color. So we are doing our best to make the spreadsheet as powerful as it was in the old version, so that we really don't have any reason anymore to stay with the old version. Another thing we added here is in the menu, we now also have the scientific calculator. I don't know if this is well known, the scientific calculator. I see many nodding faces. Thank you. So for those who don't know it, oh, that's weird. That's weird, sorry. Interesting. So for those who don't know it, the scientific calculator is a version without the graphics view for simple calculations, no commands. So this is really a very elementary version that you can use as a first version for students. You can find it also as a single app on the App Store. So App Stores, it always sounds like buying something, we are still not selling anything. So on iPhone, on Android, you can still download scientific calculator as a separate app also, and all the others too, if you prefer them separate. Another thing we are just added recently is, I will just delete it. We also added a simpler way to enter matrices. So you can find this on the, sometimes it's so hard to find new things, like things just happen and you cannot always search for them. So here it is. On the physical, on the on-screen keyboard, you go to this last part, and now I have something. And then here we have vectors and matrices. So now I can just choose number of rows and columns. And then it just makes it a matrix automatically, and I can just enter the values. And then also when I go back to it, it will also have like those boxes so that it's very clear for students which entry of the matrix you are in. So yeah, look out for the little things. So this is really the version that we work on, and we keep adding features. So we release a new version. Yes, also this is also something that is mostly in the mobile apps. There's the exam mode. So also another reason to go with the new app. So the exam mode works in a way, I don't know if this is, you know the exam mode? Okay, I see some, not, okay. So in the mobile version, there is a built-in exam mode that will lock the whole phone or the whole tablet down so that students cannot leave the app anymore. So I would really like to show this to you, but the problem is when I connect it to my laptop and I need the internet, then I cannot start the exam mode because the phone needs to be in flight mode, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, all of it needs to be disabled. Then the exam mode can be started, and then the app is locked and students cannot leave it anymore. So then for exams, it's a very secure environment where the students can use GeoGebra as a calculator, and you can be sure as teachers that they will not go Google anything or send each other messages, because all of this is disabled. As until they stop it manually. So the students need to go to menu, stop exam mode, and then it will stop. You can, yes, you can, because at the end, there comes this dialogue on the very right. So when the students exit the exam mode, there's this dialogue, and I think they need to click like 3 times. So it cannot happen by accident. And then you can, as a teacher, you can go through and have a look at everyone's screens. And if a student says, oh no, it's gone, it was an accident, it's just gone, a screenshot is saved on the phone. So you can always look it up later on the phone. So we had like lots of test runs with classes and teachers who really tried to break it. And that's how we keep improving. Yeah. How do you mean what they have on their phones? No, this just locks the students' phones. So every student has his own device, it can also be a tablet, and it's locked. So the student cannot get out of GeoGebra. In the exam mode, no. So you can, of course, you can go to students and check, but it's not locked, it's not safe. But also students cannot access any data. So they cannot open stored files, they cannot look for anything, they cannot get out of the app.
It's not that
No. No. But they can use it as a calculator, and you can be sure that they don't use their phone to Google something. So I'm here still after the talk. So if you want to try this out, I can also show you on my phone. But right now, then everything breaks down because I'm. Yes, another app. So besides of course GeoGebra, the math app, we also work on other apps. So a few years ago, we started this project for GeoGebra Note, which is a collaboration with a ministry in Germany, because they had this fun idea of making a whiteboard software, because in Germany they have many digital whiteboards in classrooms. So the idea was to have a software for the whiteboard that also supports all of the mathematics stuff we need, especially also GeoGebra. So GeoGebra Notes basically has this pen. I cannot write nicely here on the mouse pad. But then also it has lots of different tools. So it goes away from pure mathematics. It's actually meant for all of the subjects. So you can use it for whatever you want. And we also just added new tools that make drawing specific things also a bit easier. So it has a lot of functionality like shapes, and you have text tools and an equation tool so that you can write nice formulas. But also you can add in images and take photos with the camera or PDFs. Yeah, websites, videos, audios. So it's very like multimedia. You can basically put in everything that you want. But also you can put in GeoGebra. So then you can choose which one you want. And you can just put it here, and then you just have your little app here. So you can just use it here. It's fully functional, so you can just do all your math still. But also you can take the pen and draw on this. So I can also then just write something here. So it just lives, so then GeoGebra just lives within this environment. Take my time. Yeah, I know, but I have so much to show. I cannot take too much time. So yes, with GeoGebra Notes, also mind maps. So you can also, I need to clear this so that it's nicer to see again. So with mind maps, you can very easily just create maps and fill them with text. And then also move it around and it will stay connected. It has a bit of similarity also with things like PowerPoint. You can have multiple slides. And then also for the mathematicians, we have rulers and properties. So then also when you use the pen, it will also stay on the line. So it will just automatically snap so that you really get the straight line that you want. And I think it rotates around 0 now. We just recently, yeah, because this was requested, because first it was like rotating and now we changed it so that if you put 0 somewhere, it will rotate around 0. And very similar is the protractor. That you can also then rotate and it will always, it's transparent, so you will always see what you have behind your drawing. Yeah, another fun project we're currently working on is the pinboard. So the pinboard is meant for classroom collaboration, for students to collect data. So this is where you can create new sections. And then you can create cards. And you can add images, videos, web links, or just some text. So this is really easy for students to fill. So students can actively collect their data in one space. And then you can also drag them around, sort them. So there's, for now, very little going on, but enough for students to collect data. So it says beta because this is really the first beta version now. What the team is working on is collaboration so that multiple students can work on one pinboard together. So a bit similar also to like Google Docs where multiple people can have one document together. So also here the idea is that this should be collaborative so that the students can sit at home but still work on the same project without sending files back and forth and going into a more collaborative experience. Yeah, and then of course, this is how it looks when you fill it with things. So the images will show up, but I think it would take too long for today if I start actually creating one.
You can put apps of GeoGebra in the pinboard?
Not yet.
Okay,
but
it's the idea.
I hope so. And then we are also working on an app that is for students when they are at home and stuck. So the Solver app is right now the first app where we also try things with AI. It's kind of funny. We did like a lot of experiments with AI in the last years, but it just really does not get the math right. It's really not a good mathematician. In many cases, the exercises it provided were not good. The answers were not reliable enough. So we actually write our engine ourselves. So that was the outcome of many experiments that we decided we need our own engine where we can rely on the outcomes. So this is what the Solver is. It's a math engine that calculates all the steps. And now with the Solver apps, students can take a picture of the calculation and get it solved. So it has two versions. You can either get it solved, but then you don't get a solution, you get a step-by-step explanation. So it really goes into detail, and at every step you can go one step further. So if it's a step you understand, perfect. But if you don't, you can still open it and go deeper into that part that you don't understand. So that's the whole idea, that it's not just, oh, okay, here's a solution and you just write it down, but you can actually explore all of the steps of the calculation and the sub-steps and the sub-steps, so that you can really like find where you went wrong and where you're having trouble understanding. And on the other side, there's also an option for a homework check. So students can take a picture of the whole homework and the app will analyze it. And this is also where we use AI, because AI is really strong with recognizing handwriting. So then the app will compare the student's homework to the actual solution steps and find where it went wrong. So it will just identify where the student made a mistake, and then provide information about how it should be solved correctly. Okay. Yeah, then that was the universe of what we are currently working on, because we're always working on so many new things. So I hope that this gives you an idea, and then I think it's like with the math apps, it's all about exploring and trying it out. And we really hope that that everything is easy enough that you can just try it out and figure it out, and it's hopefully intuitive. On the website, so I assume that you all know the website. This was also where all the resources live and where you get the new version of GeoGebra, even if you still like the old one. So on the website, the most important things are actually right here on the top. So when you click Start Calculator, this is where you go straight to the new app, to the new calculator suite. But also you can, in the menu, you can also go to the calculators here, where you can also find all the downloads. So then here you have app downloads, and in the download section, you will find all of the versions. So then you have like the suite and also the individual apps for download. And this is also where you'll find links to the solver and the math practice and the notes. And a bit of an overview, which functionality is in which app. And all the downloads. And then at the very bottom, if you still really prefer the old classic version, you can still download it here. But also on the main page is where my heart is and where I'm working with my team. The math resources. At this point, it makes a difference in which language you have the website. So if you have the website set to English, it will show the English library that we are working on. If you set it to Portuguese, we don't have a translation yet. I really hope that it will be translated at some point. Most of it is translated to Spanish. So for Spanish, you can find it, and I hope it's close enough. I know it's not the same. And I really hope someone will translate to Portuguese at some point. So the math resources is a library with currently 600 applets, and it keeps growing. We keep adding things. We have around 500 for middle school and 100 for higher school. But this is what we are currently working on. So we keep expanding and we keep adding things. And then in the sections, we have lots of different ones. So we try to keep it simple. We try to keep it playful. We have two categories, exploration and practice, but sometimes they are also more gamified. So in this really simple one, it's about finding angles. But then also we like doing some more gamified things once in a while, because especially when it comes to practicing things that just need time to practice, like simple calculations or understanding, estimating angles, those for us are things that just really take time and you need to do it over and over. But doing it on paper can be so boring. So we try to add more gamification, more game-like approaches so that it becomes a little bit more fun for students, so that maybe they can have a little competition going, like, if they all start at the same time, who can collect the most points. I see this a lot with my son. As soon as I add 3 levels and a few points, he's like super motivated and he starts calculating like crazy, which he would never do on paper. So this is what we hope to use to just motivate kids to train something while not being frustrated with the whole learning process. So then, for example, this angle game is about estimating. And it gets faster also with time, so you're just, So you get 5 points if you get it perfectly right. 3 points for very close and 0 points for not close at all. And then they're often, like, the more you do it and the more you get it right, the animation will be faster so that you can go faster. But also in the other direction, if you keep getting it very wrong, it will start showing how. So then it will start showing where is 90 degrees and where is 180 degrees. So then we try to also guide students a bit in that direction. And the other category is practice. So with the practice category, our idea is that when students do homework on paper, many times when they get it wrong, they just get stuck. They don't really know what is wrong. Maybe they have a solution book, like this is very popular in Austria to have a solutions book, but it will only say the solution is 10. It will not tell them what was wrong or how it would have, like how it would get to that solution. So this is what we do with the practice category is we try to give good feedback. So it's automatically corrected. The students get feedback if it's right or wrong. If students make very specific errors, like very typical errors, we try to also tell them. Because we know, like, you know, those typical errors, like you start teaching the coordinate system and they switch the coordinates. It like keeps happening to students. So for that case, when they switch the coordinates in such an applet, then we show them the message you switch the coordinates. So we try to also react to those little things. And then here, this is about measuring the angle. So I will just put in any number because I want the. Why is it not? Oh, I'm sorry. I had this recently. I need to check this. It's not working. Then the other one. So if you find something that's not working, send me an email because then we fix it within a few days. So this is measuring the angle. So the first time, so usually we give 3 tries. The first time it will always say only that it's wrong. Unless it was a very typical error, then we show it immediately. On the second try, we give students a hint. That's it. Interesting sound. So on the hint, we try to give information to guide students towards a solution, but not give away information. We don't want to solve it for them. We want to give them a little bit of information. Because on the last step, if they get it wrong 3 times, we show them what the solution is, and we show them how to get there. So in this case, we have your solution and the correct solution. Also the alternative solution, because you could also do it the other way around. And then we show here your students can access a step-by-step solution, which has text and the animation, so it really will show them exactly what the steps are to solve this exact problem. And then they can try a new problem. So then it's randomized. It has lots of problems because there are a lot of degrees between 0 and 80. So then it just reloads with new numbers and students can just keep practicing. And every time if they fail, they will get this solution that is customized to this specific problem. So it's not a general solution, it's always the solution of this one problem. So this is what we do with the practice category, to give students something that they can do at home alone, and it will give them more help than just some little booklet that says it's a different number. And then so for almost all of this library is translated to Spanish. So if you look at the English version, you can see here that Spanish translation is available and audio directly. Or the other way is you can change the website to Spanish, then it will automatically show you the Spanish library. But it's really a one-to-one translation. Also, the whole library is translated to Japanese already. Someone was, I'm very, like, I'm fascinated because a teacher in Japan was so motivated that I think he actually translated all of it just by himself. So it's incredible. So now we are trying to get the infrastructure working so that we can actually show the library in Japanese also. So that's the goal. So for every language that gets translated, we will make sure that the website will show the library as a whole and not so that you go and search the English version. And then I still need to go back because, okay, no, maybe let's see. I can try in Spanish. So if you want to give resources to your students, no matter if it's from this library or if you have your own things or if you found something that the community put on the website, you can give it to your class using the classroom feature. So there's this little button in the top right, and then you can join a lesson. Oh, I think I was not logged in properly. Okay, I need to do it from the English one. Why is it join lesson? Should not be joined. No, it's here. Sorry, wrong button. So down, because usually it's on the right, but when I have it zoomed in, then it jumps down. So when I make the website a bit smaller, then on the right side we have GeoGebra lesson, and also for all of the resources, everything you can find on GeoGebra, you can share it from there directly with your students. So when you go to GeoGebra lesson, and then just click create. And now I started a classroom and now my students can join. So I have a sharing code here. If I click on it, it will also show a QR code. So if you want to try it, then please join. And in the meantime, I will just hide the names so that we don't know who joined and who didn't, and then I'll open it again. So what I'm doing now is really just what you can do in class with your students. It really just takes 2 clicks and then open the QR code for students to join. And the beauty is now you can see on your phones what the students see on their devices, and you can watch on my screen what you see as a teacher, because it automatically goes into student view and teacher view. So in classroom now, I see everyone who joined. I have this button here, show names and hide names. So I'm just gonna stay with anonymous dolphins for now. And I can see everyone who's working on this. I can see that someone hasn't started yet. So this gives me real-time update. So for all of my students, I can see where they are, what they're working on. When there are multiple tasks, I get an overview of which ones they have solved already. I can also go into the individual ones. So I can go and have a look at the exact state of every student. I can then actually also interact with it, but it will not be saved to the students. So let's say we explore something or we create something and I see that a student is totally stuck, I can open it, we can talk about it, I can make changes. But then whatever I do here will not be saved back to the student. So the student will always have their own version. And if I want everyone's attention back, I can pause the lesson. And then, of course, I can also start it again at any moment. But this is, we're trying to find those little things in classroom because once everyone is busy and you still want to say something, it's always good to have a pause button. Yeah, so this is GeoGebra Classroom. Maybe worth mentioning, for you, this will be saved in your profile. It is then just saved as a lesson and it's marked lesson. For students, it makes a difference if they sign in or not. So if they enter as a guest, then it's a one-time entry, and when they close it, then for them it's lost. And when they enter it the next time, it will just start a new session for them. If the students are logged in too, then it will also be stored in the student's profile so that they can just reopen it anytime. I think I have 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
For something else that's for me is a topic of my heart. It's accessibility. Accessibility for me is not only having the apps for free so that everyone can access them for free. It's also making sure all students can access, no matter if they are sighted, if they are motorically impaired, if they are blind. So this is also something that we work on a lot in the background, but it is very hidden. And I realized at some point that actually very little people know about this. The ones who are affected usually know, but this is in many cases, something that you just don't stumble over and you just don't really get an idea about it. So the last thing we actually added is a new mode in the algebra. So maybe you've seen that in the algebra settings, you can switch between definition, value and definition. So now there's a new option that is called linear notation that is optimized for braille displays. So for blind students who work with a screen reader and the braille display, this is the version that really lets them easily read everything. The cursor will be exactly where it's supposed to be. This is also where then the math is linear, so we don't do all the nice latex, making sure it looks good. It just stays linear so that this is exactly what the students see on the braille display, because this is how they need to read it. And this is what makes it then easy for them to also edit. So with this option, we finally have a much better support for screen readers. So we are still doing a few things there. It's not perfect yet. It's not finished completely. But I'm really happy because now finally it's like the editing, especially, you can really read all the characters on the braille display. It works really nicely with the screen reader. Also, keyboard navigation, we improved keyboard navigation a lot in the past year. So now you can actually navigate all GeoGebra just with the keyboard without a mouse, with the exception of tools. So the tools will not, because that's a really tricky one, and also I think not nice to use. So if you try to draw a line with the keyboard, I think it becomes more annoying than helpful. But that's what we have commands for. So yes, this is like a background thing. So people who need it daily, they know, but I thought it's worth sharing so that more people know that it's actually there. And there was supposed to be, yeah, there is a video. So I also have a short video because we also make accessible resources once in a while. So we have features built into GeoGebra that no one knows, that no one uses. So they are actually just used when making something specific in our accessibility. So when it's supposed to work in there. The question is if we will be able to hear this, because it's really about listening and how everything listens. Maybe I need to reshare so that I have my, I'm not sure if the sharing includes my audio. Share sound, maybe not.
One right paren, x-axis slider is at 0. Slide to move point P horizontally. Point P is at left paren 0, 0 right paren. X-axis slider is at 1. Point P is at left paren 1, 0 right paren. Y-axis slider is at 0. Show solution selected. Show solution pressed. A point appeared on the graph, indicating the right position of the coordinates left paren 2, 1 right paren. X-axis slider is at 1. Point P is at left paren 1, 0 right paren, left of the solution point. X-axis slider is at 2. Point P is at left paren 2, 0 right paren, at the same x-coordinate as the solution point. Y-axis slider is at 0. Slide to move point P vertically. Point P is at left paren 2, 0 right paren, below the solution point. Y-axis slider is at 1. Point P is at left paren 2, 1 right paren, at the same coordinates as the solution point. Well done.
It's within the place.
Okay, I think that did not work the way that but I think we will, like I will send the presentation anyways, right? So if you're interested in the presentation, then you can have a look at the video. So this video is really just showing how one of those resources works, where we specifically built in accessibility features so that, you know, we have those cool explorations for students, so that blind students can also work with it and listen to what is happening. And we try to go the didactical instructional way and describe things the way we want students to understand them. So really like focus on the topic. So this is also, yeah, what my team does. We try to find ways how to describe math to blind students and how to make resources in a way that they can be operated by everyone. So that hopefully at some point in math and technology, we can reach a point where it's like 100% accessible to them. Yeah, that being said, thank you so much.